Really excited to be joining you all today on this wonderful Wednesday. With that being said, I will call this meeting to order at 7:02. As a reminder, again, Chair Wendy will be joining us. She'll be running a little bit late, so I will lead us until we get started. So can we please call the roll and announce if quorum has been achieved?
Okay, Vice Chair Magana.
I'm present.
Commissioner Sizer.
Present.
Commissioner Westfall.
Present.
Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Thorson.
Present.
Commissioner Mendoza.
Present. Oh, sorry, I'm here. I'm just a little under the weather.
Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Jolly.
Happy to be here.
Commissioner Ramos. Commissioner Brown.
Present.
Commissioner Allen.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, y'all, for being here today. It's so great to see so many wonderful faces. We'll move on now to our next item, which is our consent calendar. As you can see, we have items A and B, which is approval of our agenda for this meeting, as well as the minutes for our regular session meeting. We do have quorum, so we can vote on this. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve our agenda as well as the minutes. So I have a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kelly. Do we have a second?
Second, Commissioner Allen.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion passes. We have a consent calendar and we have approved the minutes. We'll move on to our next item, which is the public record. Did we receive any correspondence?
We did not receive any correspondence for public record.
Awesome. Okay, then we will move on to our next item, which is public comment and open forum. Do we have any folks in attendance for our open forum?
We do. We have Sabrina Rivas. Please
Okay.
unmute.
Sabrina, you will have 2 minutes. Please unmute and you can go ahead and get started.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Rivas and I reside in Southside San Jose. The purpose of speaking to the commission was to call attention to the issues non-English speakers face when navigating online services. I understand that the library has services that offer for non-English speakers to mitigate this, such as ESL classes. However, as an ongoing library visitor, I do not see as much people as I would assume would need help, given that I've been here for 25 years, and I know the population consists of a lot of non-English speakers. And so I'm calling to action to increase attendance and retention in these classes. I'm also advocating for ESL speakers who need to improve their computer literacy when using new platforms, such as Zoom and other related service apps that have risen after the pandemic. As such, I have 3 recommendations. One is create interactive workshops that go over troubleshooting issues when using online video platforms such as Zoom. This can allow for more confidence and increased use of online services that members of the community may have, such as accessing online therapy sessions or even going to community college. And also, I have increased attendance in ESL classes through an incentive system. Members who are ESL speakers may not have the resources or time to access these free resources that you provide, because they are occupied with financial and family responsibilities. If the incentives are given, this may increase attendance and retention in future classes. Third recommendation is increase computer literacy in older adults by exposing them to the resources they have, such as access to healthcare services on phone apps. For example, some SEIU union members have Kaiser insurance. However, SEIU reports that not a lot of their union members use the Kaiser app and are less likely to obtain these services. Access to the app can improve healthcare delivery for non-English speakers, and I believe the library can contribute to this a more equitable healthcare delivery. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sabrina, and we apologize for the timer stopping, but thank you for advocating and providing your public comment. I'll go back to staff. Do we have any other folks that are here for public comment?
We do not have any more public comment.
I apologize. I know we call it open forum. San Jose Unified, we call it public comments. It's just coming to second mind. So I apologize for that, y'all. All right. Thanks, y'all. We'll move on to our next item, item V, discussion and action items. We'll start with A. It's an informational item, which is our Youth Commission. Commissioner Chen, are you here to provide an update?
Hello, I am here. I am also, apologize for the voice. I'm also a little under the weather, but yeah, I'm here. So today is going to be pretty short. Not much has changed, but there is a really exciting weekend coming up. So our District 5 Policy Conference is happening at the King Library on Saturday the 25th, all day, beginning at 9 a.m. I am really excited for that. Policy is one of the things that really excites me the most about Youth Commission. And I feel like it's great practice and it's a good experience overall to familiarize ourselves with legislative action items. And the Youth Commission Budget Summit is also happening the next day on Sunday, the 26th from 1 to 3 p.m. And that's also really exciting, encourages fiscal literacy and overall one of my favorite events of the year. And our last virtual Youth Commission meeting is Monday, the 27th at 6:30 p.m. Yeah, we'll be moving to an in-person format after that, also really exciting. And on March 1st, we will be launching our annual San Jose Teen Survey in partnership with Teen HQ at the King Library to better understand youth issues and priorities. So that helps us inform our work plan and our action items for the next fiscal year. And District 3 also uses those community suggestions to write a youth-focused policy during the District 3 Policy-thon, which will happen virtually on April 3rd. So yeah, that's about it. Always nice to see you guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Chen. Do we have any questions for our commissioner, our Youth Commission? All right. I hope you feel better. Thank you again for taking the time to provide us with the update and keep up the great work. We'll move on to item B, which is an action item. It's to adopt our annual commission budget position message to council. I believe we'll be receiving a quick presentation regarding our annual budget position message, and hopefully we as a board can approve that. I'll turn it over to our staff.
Hi, good evening, Commission. Before we jump into the item, I just want to thank the subcommittee members, which was Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Ramos, as well as Commissioner Thorson. They all were very thoughtful and passionate throughout the budget message development process. And so I just want to thank them. I realize this is in addition to their normal commission duties. And so I really appreciate their input and as well as their commitment through the process. So thank you. I think hopefully everyone's read the memo that was included in the packet, but I'm just going to highlight the 5 key areas that were discussed in the message, and then I will ask if any of the subcommittee members want to make any comments before moving to the next process. So first, there were 5 key areas that were highlighted as priorities. One of them was an ongoing full restoration of library hours, as well as expansion of Sunday hours to all library locations, to fully fund the Education and Digital Literacy Initiative, which includes SJ Access Digital Equity Program staff, as well as program funding, ongoing hotspot and device availability, as well as ongoing digital literacy programming. The third priority that was highlighted was to increase the budget for the library's collection of materials. And so there's some information included in the message in regards to where the library falls in comparison to other libraries of similar size, as well as within California or state, within the Santa Clara County. And then there's also the expand juvenile fines free to fines free for all. And so there's also some great details in the message about all of the jurisdictions that have already gone fines free. And so we are a bit behind the curve on that one. And we know that it also limits access. And so we definitely want to make sure that we that was highlighted. And then the last priority that was highlighted was library public safety resources to be able to provide the ongoing needs to keep the public in the community, as well as staff safe within library facilities. And so those were the 5 key priorities that were highlighted. And so I'd like to open the floor to the subcommittee members if they wanted to discuss any key points within the message. Thank you.
Any subcommittee members like to comment or provide an update? All right. I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, Commissioner Thorson, sorry about that.
That's okay. I just wanted to thank Andrea for all of her work gathering all the data for us and helping to craft the message. And she had mentioned that one of our meetings, and just thought it might be worth mentioning for everyone here, that we really spelled out what was needed in terms of library hours very specifically to make sure that it's very clear to the mayor and city council that the library hours in the last budget were not restored to pre-pandemic levels, and there are still remaining branches that need those hours restored, and then also to specify that we want the Sunday hours annualized. So it seems kind of lengthy, but that was just to be extra clear about what is still needed. So thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. Other commissioners or any questions for our subcommittee or for Andrea? Yes, our wonderful library director, Jill, you have the floor.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Chair Magana. I just wanted to say that to thank Andrea as well. And for the record, she's our administrative officer, Andrea Maestre. And I wanted to thank the subcommittee. This was the most informed and detailed, as Commissioner Thorson just said, budget message that I've seen in all of my years here. And I think it's a reflection of how engaged the commission is in the priorities of the library and our communities. And so I just really wanted to thank you all for the engagement and the support, and thank Andrea for her leadership.
Thank you, Jill. Other questions, comments specific to this topic? Commissioner Allen.
I just wanted to ask, I'm not sure if we've already received this information, but I wanted to ask if it will be given to us, the city council public hearing dates, that it would be good if commissioners would speak regarding the budget message.
Yes, we will share those dates, and they will be fast approaching before we know it. So yes, we will definitely share those dates.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen, and I believe Commissioner Thorson and I will have an update specific to our our policy committee as well. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank Andrea for all of her help. We come together on this, we become a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and I tend to come with my spice rack with me. And she was very good about saying what flavors were working, and very gentle with the ones that were not working. But mostly it was just so open to all of our ideas and working with us on this letter. And she did so much background work before we came to the table. I was just so impressed. So thank you for all that time.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. The floor is still open for folks to ask any questions or any follow-ups. I don't believe I see any folks raising their hands. So as a reminder, this is an action item. For new members, I don't know if we voted on a presentation yet or a letter, but as a reminder to folks, my hope, and I will entertain a motion in a second, is for us to approve this report so that we can submit it to City Council. So it will require a vote if we do decide to approve this. So I would like to entertain a motion for us to approve our annual budget position message. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you. I'm going to give it to Commissioner Jolly this time, and I'll give you the second, Commissioner Kelly. How about that?
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks. Any other discussion on this item before we go to a vote? All right, seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Awesome. Great work. Wonderful letter, y'all. Thank you for all the hard work from staff and from our commissioners who took the time to work on that. Motion passes. Our annual commission budget position message to council has been approved. Thanks, everybody. We'll move on to our next item, item C, which is an informational item. I believe Carla Alvarez is going to be speaking to us about our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Services report.
Hello, good evening, commissioners.
Hey, Carla, I was just going to
Yes.
introduce you a little bit. If you
Okay,
all
great.
know, our wonderful equity, diversity, inclusion manager, Carla Alvarez. Carla came into her role just before the pandemic and has done incredible work to not only create a program, but really create one that is inclusive of our staff and as well as our communities. And I'm always saying how fortunate we are to have found Carla. And so tonight is really an update on some of the work that you've heard about in the past, and we look forward to a lively discussion as well. So take it away, Carla.
Thank you, Jill. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Carla Alvarez. I'm a community programs administrator for Equity and Inclusion Services. And it's my pleasure to provide this annual update on our departmental efforts to advance equity and inclusion of access for library programs and services. Special appreciation to Tiffany for the artistic creation Siempre Eastside appearing as backdrop for this presentation. Tiffany was one of 2 winners of the Eastside Dreams Art Contest, featured as limited edition library cards last year. Next, please. The equity work undertaken by San Jose Public Library is led by a variety of staff in a range of classifications, including my own position as Community Programs Administrator. Staff voluntarily select to work in one of 5 equity working groups, which meet throughout the year. The library also works closely with staff from the City of San Jose's Office of Racial Equity in strategy sessions and trainings during the year. Our team has incorporated new tools to embed equity in the citywide and department-wide service model, principally the Departmental Racial Equity Action Plan, which I will delve into shortly. The implementation of the equity, diversity, and inclusion quality standards will deepen equity considerations in library programming, as well as some of the initiatives and partnerships that the library has undertaken in the last year. Next slide, please. In spring 2022, the City of San Jose's Office of Racial Equity developed templates for racial equity action plans, referred to by its acronyms as REAP. These plans, used by all city departments, outline key goals, action items, and success measures to monitor. The REAP templates are structured under 3 main categories: normalize, organize, and operationalize. The normalize category represents actions that familiarize shared terms, normalize talking about racialized experiences and disaggregated data, and support deeper learning of systemic inequities. The organized category highlights capacity building actions to focus decision-making, program development, and other factors to monitor inequity. And actions identified under the operationalized category seek to understand, identify, and act on racial inequities. Next slide, please. Under the normalized category, some of the library's highlights include having access to reports now on our equity web section visits. Our racial and ethnic affinity and ally groups are identifying programs and staff trainings to support greater inclusion for communities of color. We have also developed an EDI, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Toolkit to support individual staff learning, and updating our community engagement strategy as pandemic safety measures have evolved. Next slide. Under the organized category, each of the main equity groups are spearheading initiatives to guide further programs, public education priorities, and service model considerations. For our community engagement efforts specifically, our revised strategy has allowed us to engage with over 500 community members during the first quarter of our pivot, and staff have been using this feedback to learn about community aspirations, ideas, needs, and concerns in order to inform programming and service strategy. We are looking forward to our library in-service days as key opportunities to include equity learning opportunities, taking advantage of having staff across locations and classifications together in order to, and on these key dates in order to have more hands-on learning opportunities. Next slide. Under the operationalized category, we continue to refine our equity index and apply it to funding and program prioritization discussions. The library joined other city departments in a couple pilots this past year as they were organized by the city's Office of Racial Equity to focus on results-based accountability and applied racial equity tools. Next slide. This spring, we will begin the implementation process of our equity, diversity, and inclusion quality standards. Library staff will begin by assessing 4 adult services programs during the spring and summer, using their feedback to guide a wider rollout to library and other city staff during the next fiscal year. In summer 2024, we will organize multilingual roundtables with the community to share back our results and incorporate their feedback. It is important that that community voice be included in this process. And while we had originally intended to do this from the beginning of the standards development, the pandemic unfortunately changed the path slightly. But by organizing these community spaces, we look forward to co-creating and refining how to better serve our community members. Next slide. The City of San Jose is one of many governments investing in developing equity-based work and approaches. Our Office of Racial Equity, and now many departments now have equity positions in their teams. All city employees participated in the first ever mandatory Foundations of Racial Equity training series last year. In order to support city employees with incorporating the EDI quality standards, we prepared a toolkit that has materials, resources, and trainings on equity principles and cultural competency for better supporting San Jose's diverse communities. The toolkit responds to the wide range of levels of understanding city employees may have about equity, and it's focused on supporting individual learning through free or low-cost resources. As employees begin to assess the performance on each quality standard, they will be able to refer to additional materials to help guide their programming design and delivery. We appreciate the members of the EDI Quality Standards Ad Hoc Committee and stakeholders who provided their recommendations for this toolkit, and we will continue to expand and strengthen the toolkit as we move through the first year. Next slide. In addition to the key goals and action items identified in May 2023 for a Racial Equity Action Plan, the library received additional grants and developed partnership opportunities to further respond and/or connect with the community. Can you do one more click, please? One of these partnerships includes a collaboration with San Jose State University King Library and San Jose State University iSchool to implement the BIPOC Become Librarians project. This 2-year pilot program will introduce undergraduate students who identify as Black, Indigenous, or person of color to consider careers in library and information sciences. We just completed the selection of mentors and mentees and are developing the mentorship and internship curriculum. More information is available on the project website listed. You can click one more time. I'm not seeing the text appear for that. There you go. And one more. There you go. And the information is also available in the packet just for reference. Next slide, please. As we continue to advance on meeting the goals outlined in our Racial Equity Action Plan, we look forward to applying the EDI quality standards to the library's adult services programs. Plans are also underway to further support staff learning by bringing in consultants, as well as supporting both staff and public learning through guest speakers with lived experience and technical expertise. We continue to work closely with the city's Office of Racial Equity and appreciate their technical support as we deepen our equity work. Next slide. This concludes my presentation. Thank you, and I am happy to take questions.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation and providing us a robust update as to what is going on in our world in this space. I will open up the floor to any commissioners who have questions or comments, and I will be looking for any raised hands. See any? I'm not sure if I see any questions. All right, go for it. Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I've asked my questions before. I just wanted to thank you for the leadership that y'all continue to show in this area. It's I'm learning a lot as I think about how to do the work in my own professional life, and I just really appreciate that you're such a resource on this, and it's just great stuff, and I continue to be really humbled and impressed. So thanks.
Thank you for those wonderful comments. Other comments or questions from our commission? All right, I don't think I see any. Thank you again for the wonderful and amazing presentation. I continue to be impressed with the great work that our library system does. It's great to see that we are prioritizing equity, diversity, and inclusion in our services. So thank you so much for that report. I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jill and team, I don't believe we need a vote for this. I believe this is an informational item, correct? I'm seeing heads nod. Awesome. So with that being said, we don't need a motion or a vote on this one. So we'll move on to item D, another informational item, which is a presentation and update on our Children and Youth Services Master Plan status. And I apologize, I'm not sure who is presenting on this item, so I apologize in advance.
I'd be happy to introduce our colleague from the city manager's office, Laura Buzo. You may remember Laura from previous iterations when she was our partner in the Department of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services, as we formed the quality standards for many of our educational programs. And she has moved on to even bigger things, working for the city manager and leading the city's effort to create a Children and Youth Services Master Plan. Thank you so much for being here, Laura.
Thank you for the invitation. Good evening, commissioners. Again, Laura Buzo, assistant to the city manager. And I am supporting the deputy city manager, Angel Rios, with the development of the Children and Youth Services Master Plan. Next slide. So just to give you some context on how we came about with this effort, this is grounded in a number of initiatives and policies that the city has been working on over the last few years. But more recently, in the mayor's June 2021 budget message, the city manager's office was directed to develop this comprehensive cradle to career youth development master plan, which we are now referring to as a Children Youth Services Master Plan. It has been mentioned in many other conversations. We know that the pandemic had a huge impact in our community, especially those families and children and youth that were already vulnerable and living paycheck to paycheck or already struggling economically or with other health and wellness issues. We also are grounded in, again, some of the policies and initiatives that the City Council has approved and has spearheaded. More importantly, the education digital literacy strategy, as has been discussed here many times, in the San Jose Education Initiative, as well as the San Jose Bill of Rights for Children and Youth. And then more recently, citywide departments were audited by the City Auditor's Office on the implementation and adherence of the Children and Youth Bill of Rights. So that also has all informed us in this work with the master plan. Over the last year and a half, we've also had some meetings in partnership with the County Board of Supervisors around children, youth, and families. And then in April, you may remember that the City Council approved $10.5 million of ARP, American Rescue Plan funds, to support children youth services throughout the city. Next slide. So the overarching purpose of the Children Youth Services Master Plan is, through a racial equity lens and collective impact, create the City of San Jose's Children Youth Services Master Plan that provides a strategic framework and approach to changing the narrative for many of our young people. The purpose of the master plan is to provide guidance on policy priorities, investments, and alignments of programs similar to what we've done around the quality standards, provide a service delivery continuum of support for children and youth from cradle to career, develop college, career, and workforce development pathways and opportunities that disrupt the poverty cycles through economic prosperity, and develop a strategic, coordinated, and responsive approach to ensure a safety net for children and youth and their families. Also, as was mentioned in Carla's presentation, it's important to address the systemic racism, root causes, structural barriers, persistent inequities, and generational trauma that many of our families, children, and youth experience. And also to develop long-term and sustainable impact and measurable outcomes. Next slide. So the overarching goals is to create and expand pathways and supports from cradle to career for all children, and youth and young adults from birth through age 24. And you may probably be wondering, well, why age 24 and why not just 18? And the reason is because we recognize that young people, even if they graduate from high school or if they don't, right, but if they reach at the age of 18, many youth, many young people still need the support and guidance to figure out what's next for them, whether it's continuing their education or pursuing a vocational trade or university or other career profession. And then furthermore, the vision is that all children and youth and young adults, particularly those most vulnerable, have increased opportunities to gain 21st century skills that lead to better health outcomes, sustainable employment, and a competitive living wage so that they can live and thrive in this community. Next slide. So we've taken a multi-approach through creating this teaming structure, and I apologize, it's a little small. But we know that we can't do this work alone. And so we've been very strategic to ensure that we're engaging different partners, community stakeholders, city staff across all the different departments. We've been working closely with the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee. Excuse me, we haven't updated the graph here, but the NSC committee has provided guidance and policies around the development of the master plan. We've also worked closely with our consultants. We've been working with an executive committee of city department executive leaders and managers. We've also created a community advisory, bringing together school districts, nonprofits, community stakeholders, as well as parents. In addition to that, we've also have engaged parents and caregivers from what we would consider seniors, who often are grandparents of children and youth and are pretty involved in providing caregiving, and also parents of all ages, whether it's a teen mom or dad, or a family. We've also engaged closely with the Youth Commission. They've assisted us in hosting a youth forum. We've also been presenting monthly to their meetings, and then also engaging youth of all lived experiences. We've been able to engage middle school students all the way to young adults, to Resilience Corps members, to teens who have not been so engaged in school and are involved in the juvenile justice system. So we tried really hard to engage youth and families with various lived experiences. Next slide. So our community outreach and conversations have been multi-approach. We've had youth town halls, we've had parent and caregiver focus groups, we've had a citywide survey, we've done targeted empathy interviews with community leaders, families, as well as having citywide presentations. Next slide. And these are all the groups that we've have engaged at various levels. Next slide. And just to showcase some of the community engagement activities that we've hosted, as I mentioned, we've had an executive committee as well as a community advisory committee hosting a number of meetings with them. We've also had brainstorming sessions, providing opportunities for the community to provide more guidance and support around really defining what are the focus areas for the master plan. We've met monthly with the Youth Commission, providing updates, as well as also discussing opportunities for engagement for youth throughout the city. As I mentioned, we've had community conversations from focus groups, presentations. We've had over 600 participants in those. We've also had what we are calling our CAST tech team, which is a single system of support planning team that has been meeting since April to help us develop this service delivery so that we can be more responsive in meeting the needs of families and children and youth. And then, as I mentioned, we've had our parent caregiver and youth survey. We just wrapped that up, and we have a total of 1,900 responses, both online and in the paper format. Next slide. And this is our overall timeline. So we're currently in the process of onboarding the new mayor, as well as some of our city council members, getting them up to speed on the process, similar to what we're doing here today, and also providing them an opportunity to provide input and feedback. We have just wrapped up some of our community engagement efforts. As I mentioned, our focus groups, our citywide survey, as well as some of our community conversations. So we're currently working with our consultants to analyze some of that input and begin creating some of the summaries and recommendations to be included in the master plan. Our goal is to present to the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee in April, and then soon after that to the City Council. Next slide. And this is just a snapshot of the various community stakeholders and partners that we have engaged at various steps throughout this development process. As I mentioned, we've communicated with school districts, with community-based organizations, with county departments, with parents, with caregivers, and educational institutions such as San Jose State, Evergreen, and San Jose City College. Again, this is just a brief list of the many community stakeholders and partners that we have engaged. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you, Laura, for a wonderful presentation. I
Thank you.
will open up the floor for any comments or questions from our commission. I believe our chair is on. Please be careful while driving.
Thank you, Vice Chair Regania. Thank you for covering me. What a spectacular job. I love it. In case folks don't know, I'm his vice president of the Board of Education from San Jose. So we're always together. It's like we're freaking frat. Anyway, I also want to say to the commission, I was lucky enough to go to the last all-day event. And so a couple of things I want to point out. I'm lucky enough, I've known Laura for a long time. We worked together at First Five, but Laura has put every single thing she's got into this. She thinks about it at night. She thinks about it when she's sleeping. She thinks about it when she's awake. And I know because of her dedication to this work, it's going to be spectacular. The best thing this city's done. And I'm so proud to be able to work with you on this, Laura.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
That's it. I want to say I was lucky enough to be there on behalf of the commission, so I won't say it again when we say where did we go as commissioners. Thanks. So thank you, Vice Chair Magana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wendy.
We'll move on in terms of order who I saw first, which is Commissioner Jolly.
Thank you, Laura. That was a great presentation. It's so wonderful to see the focus on children and youth and there to be something structured. I do have a question in regards to how children with special needs, especially our community of individuals on the autism spectrum, are included in this to also address the equity aspect of it. Could you speak to that for me?
Yes, and that's a great question. Thank you for that. Yes, Ashley, we did host two separate focus groups, one with providers in the special needs community. And we did that in partnership with San Andreas Regional Center. They assisted us in doing some outreach to all of their community partners. And then we also hosted a focus group for families with children with special needs as well. And then in addition to that, I'm not sure if you're aware that the city of San Jose has just hired, and I'm not sure the proper name, but I believe it's the Disability Awareness Officer under the city manager's office. And so I have met with her, and she's fairly new in her position. I believe it's been less than a month. And I met with her a couple of weeks ago to also ensure that we have her expertise integrated into the master plan. And then the idea is that the master plan is not the end all, right? We know that there's a lot of other work that needs to happen. And so we recognize that we don't have the expertise to address special needs challenges or opportunities for youth and for young people. And so the officer and I will be connecting on how we can best ensure that whatever we present within the master plan is in alignment with the work that she's going to be doing as well. My understanding is that she is also going to be creating a work plan in the next few months. And so we want to make sure that whatever we integrate is in alignment with the work that she's going to be spearheading as well. So thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. That's news to me. I didn't know we had that new position in our city, and that is super exciting. So thank you, Laura. I appreciate the work you're doing, and it sounds like the city is really taking into account all aspects of our community. So very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jolly. Move on to Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, and my apologies for being late. I was also at the same event that Chair Wendy was at, so I just live closer, so I got home in time. Hopefully you can hear me because I have my earphones in. Okay, great. Thank you for the presentation, Laura. I think I too was at that same event, and I think it's definitely a labor of love. My question to you is, you know, I know that you will be presenting to the City Council in April, and I'm curious to know what are the next steps to ensure that you can get into the implementation stages? Like, so will the city manager be including it including funding for certain parts of it, or in their budget? You know, just kind of wanted to know next steps.
Sure. As I mentioned just briefly, we know that the master plan isn't the end product, right? The work doesn't end with the master plan. We know that there's a lot of work that needs to happen to actually realize some of the recommendations and some of the goals that will be included in the master plan. And so what we're doing is also working closely with different departments, because we know that we are not the holder and expert in some of these areas. So as an example, within the master plan, we will be discussing college and career readiness and opportunities for children and youth, right? And so we know that the library is doing a lot of work around that, and is in the process of creating a work plan, as well as the Office of Economic Development. So in many ways, we will be teeing off some of these recommendations off to other departments who have the expertise, who have the resources and the skills and capacity to see some of those through, understanding that this is a collective process. So we will have to create a process and a system to be able to monitor and track how we are doing around those different recommendations that we include in the master plan. We're also working closely with Deputy City Manager as well as department staff to determine what are some items that we may be able to bring to City Council during this kind of budgeting time, right, in preparation for next fiscal year. We're still in the process of figuring that out, but we do know that in order to carry a lot of this work forward, we will need some funding. We also do recognize that this is not going to be a short-term process, because we are trying to create systems change, and that takes time, it takes funding, and it takes some thoughtful planning in order to be able to do it properly. And so what I see us doing is having a phased-in approach. Some things we will be able to manage and implement fairly quickly, and then there are some things that are going to take a little bit longer, such as creating the service delivery system, right? How do we create a process where, regardless of whether a family enters a library, a community center, or the 9th floor Parks and Rec, that they can get access to resources and supports? And so some of those nuances will need to be fleshed out a little bit more, and will take more time to kind of figure out. I hope I answered your question.
You did, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramos. We'll switch over to Commissioner Thorson.
Thanks so much for your presentation. It was very comprehensive, and I have a couple questions. The first question was, I noticed that you've engaged with the school districts in San Jose. So I was curious what types of staff you engaged with, Was it principals, teachers, school librarians, school counselors, the whole range?
We've been pretty fortunate. We've been able to engage with superintendents as well as some of their administrative leadership, and then with some principals and school teachers, but it really has depended on the school district on who they've encouraged or invited to come to these meetings. But we have had an open invitation to the school districts to send staff of various levels.
That's great. I think that's so important. And then my other question was related to the news that came out recently that San Jose is the #1 city in the US for youth, having the highest number of youth who are unhoused. So I was wondering if you'd been able in this process to reach out to unhoused youth or organizations that work closely with them.
Yes, we have. We reached out to the Bill Wilson Center as well as some of the other organizations that support young people who are either unhoused or don't have support systems. So like the Youth Empowerment Alliance, also within the county. We also, interesting enough, just had a conversation earlier today with the housing department, because as we have engaged parents, caregivers, and youth, housing has become a topic, right? I mean, it's so prevalent. It doesn't matter who you talk to, it's going to come up. And so we have spoken to housing about how do we address the issue around housing, understanding that it's not something that we alone can address, right? And understanding that housing, even if a family has a roof over their heads, because the cost of housing is so great for them, that it's impacting their overall quality of life. And so we just spoke with housing earlier today about how do we touch on some of those issues and things within the master plan. Again, understanding that the master plan isn't going to solve everything, but how do we ensure that then whatever comes out of the master plan is then integrated with the work that the housing department is doing within the city of San Jose, but then also in the county. And so that'll be ongoing conversation that we'll need to tease out a little bit more.
That's great. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to hear you're working with those organizations and then the housing department.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. I will hold the floor open for any other questions or comments from commissioners or any other folks. Okay, I don't think I see any. Thank you, Commissioner Jolly, Thorson, Chair Wendy, and Commissioner Ramos Allen for your wonderful questions. If there's nothing else, thank you so much, Laura, for a wonderful presentation. We appreciate you taking the time and all your hard work. But I believe this is an informational item, which again does not require a vote. So we will move on to our next item, which is our council liaisons announcements. We are very lucky and blessed to be joined by Diego Martinez, who is representing.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Laura. Sorry about that. We
you.
will be having a quick presentation and update from Diego Martinez, who will be representing Council Member Torres's office. Diego, are you here?
He is here. I just promoted him to panelist, so it might just take him a second.
Awesome. Whenever you have the opportunity, Diego, you have the floor to provide us with your update. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you all. My name is Diego Martinez, and I'm the Community Relations Coordinator for Councilmember Omar Torres. I'm here on his behalf today. He wasn't able to make it. He had to be at a neighborhood meeting. But I'm just here as my first time just excited to learn more about what's going on. Thank you all for everything you guys do for the libraries and for the youth. In my other hat, I'm also a school board trustee for another area for Oak Grove School Board. So that's why I'm staffing them on this commission. So I just wanted to Councilmember Torres wanted me to share that he's very excited to join the 10-year anniversary that's coming up at the Bascom Library. And he's also just wanted me to share with you all that he's looking forward to working with the library commissioners and the staff to maintain Sunday hours for that location. But that's all I have for now. And I just wanted to just introduce myself and give a little update about Councilmember Torres, about what he's looking forward to, and he's attending the 10-year anniversary at the Bascom Library. And it's nice to meet you all. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And I apologize, Trustee Martinez. I apologize for not including the title. Thank you for being here with us, providing us with the update. And I believe I can speak for the commission that we look forward to working with you and serving the community in San Jose. Any questions for our council liaison?
Just a quick thank you. I was actually sitting right next to Councilmember Torres at the induction of Supervisor Arenas, and we talked about coming to commission. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll be attending future ones. I'll be here snapping them and being more engaged on what's going on. So I'm happy to join, learn, and looking forward to more discussions going down the road. It's my first meeting. I'm brand new, so thank you for being patient with me. But hopefully next time around I'll be more prepared with other items and going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We'll move on to our next item, which I will turn it over to our wonderful chair. Thank you all, everyone, for your grace and patience for letting me chair this meeting. But we'll move on to the next item, which are chair announcements.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Jose, you're still going to run the rest of it. Yes, please.
Yes,
Thank
I got
you.
it. I got it.
I'm like barely getting the agendas up. I appreciate it. Wow, I love this. Is my favorite group. Okay. So the announcements are, we were really lucky. I got to see Commissioner Kelly at City Council Member Foley's community event, the first one of the season. It's always nice to see commissioners live. I didn't realize how funny you are. He was giving a lot of comments, and he's a pretty funny fella. So it was really lovely to see. We got to see all the police and fire and community members in our area. And so we were there as library commissioners and City of San Jose trustees. Again, we just welcomed in Supervisor Arenas tonight, and we're super excited for that, for her to continue her work from the city council to the county. She talked a lot about her work around children and families, in particular those in need. And so her love of children and families shone through, and the event was spectacular. I will point out there are although all the board of supervisors are wonderful, there are 3 very strong female advocates for women, children, and families on our my goodness, board of supervisors. And so I think we're all going to see the partnership that happens when entities can work together. They talked a lot about that, so I'm looking forward to it. And certainly he was there representing us as well. That's it for now. I give it back to the vice chair. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Chair Wendy. Any questions for our chair specific to her announcements? All right. I don't believe I see anything. Yeah.
I guess I should say I also lost the D10 appointment. I was running for D10's appointment for the city council. But here's what I'm really proud of, guys. Look, we're in a town of Silicon Valley. We're talking about technology and all this stuff. And there were 24 candidates for that position. And I was in the end, the only woman that made it to the top 6 and then to the top 2. And I ran on children, families, and children, women, and families in particular, how the city can support them. And the person who won is a technology person. So I'm not, and a dude, but I am going to say, to bring children and families issues to the city that thinks about infrastructure and doesn't realize how much it actually spends time with children and families and childcare and education and all the things they think. I was really proud that we got that far. So I'm still with you.
Thank you, Chair Mahaney Guru, and I can say we are glad to have you to continue to lead us on this commission. Sad with the results, but glad to continue to have your leadership here. We'll move on to our next item, the library director's announcements. We'll turn it over to our wonderful library director, Jill.
That's my in-house audience. Thank you, Vice Chair Magaña. As you heard from Trustee Martinez, you can join the San Jose Public Library in celebration of its Bascom Branch Library turning 10 years old. The free community event is scheduled for Saturday, February 25th, and it'll begin at 11 a.m. with open remarks by our new San Jose Mayor, Matt Mahan, and other city and county leaders. The celebration will include an art show and special performance with cake and refreshments and many more family-friendly activities. The Bascom Branch Library opened to the public on February 23rd, 2013. Last fiscal year, the Bascom Branch registered nearly 70,000 visitors, over 140,000 checkouts, and nearly 4,800 hours of service from its 263 volunteers. So for more event details, please visit sjpl.org, and I would love to see you all there on Saturday, the 24th. And also, the San Jose Public Library is partnering with multiple local organizations to build connections and develop foundations of learning and growth with a series of special story times, starting with local Spanish news station Telemundo 48, which kicked off its series of story times today, Wednesday, at the Bascom Branch Library. We're also going to be partnering with our county supervisor, Susan Ellenberg, who will read to children on Thursday, February 23rd at the Cambrian Branch Library, and San Jose council members for Read Across San Jose, our local edition of the National Read Across America event and campaign, which happens on March 2nd. So I wanted to give a special shout out to our early education unit for leading and organizing all these special partnerships. And for a complete list of our story times, you can visit sjpl.org/storytimes. And then my last announcement today is that this is the 20th anniversary of Silicon Valley Reads, which is an annual community reading program presented by the San Jose Public Library, the Santa Clara County Library District, and the Santa Clara County Office of Education. This year's theme is Journey to New Beginnings, and throughout the month of February and March, more than 100 author visits, book clubs, children's programs, and other free events are scheduled throughout all of our locations and at the other library systems and venues across Santa Clara County. The library is also providing an interactive parent-led read aloud programs with the County Office of Education parent engagement program as part of Silicon Valley Reads. And for more information, of course, you can go to sjpl.org and it's /SV Reads. That concludes my announcements for tonight.
Thank you. And I would agree with the whoop whoop. I heard the great yeah at the end too. It's awesome. Any questions or comments for our wonderful library director? I don't believe I see any. Cool. I need to get me, I need to let my little one stay up longer to get a hype crew behind me too. That's awesome. Get me one of those. All right, we'll move on to our next item, comments and announcements. We will start with our friends groups, comments and announcements and updates. Any comments or announcements? Commissioner Kelly, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Well, here's the funny guy. It was a great meeting that we attended for the District 9 neighborhood breakfast, and it was funny seeing Chair Wendy there. It was like one of those stories from Love Story when two people see each other across the room and you run towards each other and get together. I'd never seen her without a mask before, except on this channel. So it was great to see her there as well. Also with the, in terms of friends groups, Jill talked about the 10th anniversary, and that's going to be a really big thing. And it's not on the 24th, it's on the 25th. So please mark your calendars and show up at 10:30. Come a little bit early at 10 o'clock for the book sale, which will go on during the festivities. It's going to be a wonderful event. So that's going to be a big deal. And I'm looking forward to the 20th anniversary as well. Also wanted to bring up that we had a marvelous all friends meeting this month as well. And thanks to Jean for putting that whole package together. Attendance was wonderful at the at the event. Almost all of the Friends groups showed up. And I'll talk a little bit about what they wanted in a further discussion when we get down to another part of the agenda. So that has to do with the Friends groups.
Any questions for Commissioner Kelly or comments? All right. Thank you for that. We'll move on. Oh, Commissioner Ramos.
Sorry, I got distracted by the baby. Commissioner Kelly, do you only take cash at the book sale or like Venmo? Like how what's the payment system?
We will take anything you have. Except cyber
Oh, well, I
currency.
mean, I have pesos, so I can do
Except-
that.
Yeah, we'll take that too, but no cyber currency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly, for your update. We appreciate your advocacy for our Friends groups. We'll move on to item B, which is meetings attended by commissioners as commissioners. Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, there was quite a few things that I attended. One of them I represented both Bascom Library at the Friends Group and also commissioner at that meeting because I was the person that kind of put the thing together and served as the host of it. So it was really good to have the library folks there and the Friends groups as well. I also represented the commission at the District 9 Neighborhood Breakfast, as mentioned before, and was able to get a good message out about what the library is doing. And just this past week, because of the joining the All Friends group, the library administrator for the City of Santa Clara libraries has asked for advice from us as to how to reinvigorate their Friends groups and how to provide a place to sell books because the Amazon thing is not working out too well for them. So that was a nice meeting that I was able to have with that person. So that is all of those things.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes, please.
On that topic, it's uncomfortable going to these meetings representing the district when I don't have a business card or a badge that identifies who I am. All the other commissions that I've ever served on do have that. It's difficult when you walk into a room and you introduce yourself and so how can I contact you? Well, you have to write this stuff down. So if there is any way that the commissioners can be provided with name tags and business cards, that would be helpful and appreciated.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly.
You are welcome, sir.
Any questions for Commissioner Kelly or comments, as well as any other meetings attended by commissioners as commissioners? All right, I don't believe I see any. With that being said, we'll move on to item C, which is our San Jose Public Library Foundation Board update.
Hi again, everyone. So Dawn and I will be presenting in April, but just wanted to say that after the end of 2022, the Library Foundation hit their revenue goal despite the downturn in the stock market and are currently well on their way to reaching their larger goal of raising the next $35 million within 5 years. So by the end of 2027. So that's great news. And that money, of course, goes to support library programs that serve more than 100,000 people annually. Also wanted to share a great upcoming event that you are welcome to participate in and share with your contacts. I'll drop the link into our chat, but it is the launch of the Empower, Educate, and Engage series, and it's starting on February 27th. And so the foundation will be focusing at this first event on Empower with an emphasis on Black History Month. So there'll be a happy hour, drinks, snacks, and you can learn more about the Library Foundation and the Family Friend and Neighbor Caregiver Support Network. And that's at the Santa Teresa branch. So hopefully you'll be able to attend and spread the word. I also wanted to mention that the advocacy committee that consists of members from the Library Foundation, our Library and Education Commission, and the Friends of the Library has resumed meetings. So we're meeting every 2 weeks. And some of the things that we're working on are the Library Foundation is scheduling meetings with council members and the mayor in coordination with the library so that the library can do their presentation first, and then the foundation is following up afterwards. So those are in progress. In addition, we've been looking at the upcoming potential budget meetings. Some of the dates are still TBD, but there is on the calendar, the budget calendar, a March 14th budget hearing. So once we have more details about that, we'll be sending them your way. And that's a chance to come. I don't know if they will be virtual and in person again this year or how it will be working out, but that will be a chance to come and speak in support of the library and all the points we outlined in our budget memo. And so in order to help facilitate that, we're working on some talking points. Those are available on the SJPLF website from last year. So we're working on updating those for this year. So we'll share those once they're available. And so hopefully you'll be able to attend and encourage other community members to attend too. And then the last thing we're working on is a letter from the advocacy committee itself to the mayor and council members. So stay tuned for more updates as we get a more solidified budget calendar. And just as a reminder, the budget process goes from now through June. So there will be plenty of opportunities to engage and support the library. And lastly, I think I have one more thing, which is that it's been really great now that the board can meet again in person. They've been meeting, the staff are hosting monthly staff meetings at library branches throughout the system as a way to deepen their connection to the individual communities and library staff. And then also so in addition to the staff meetings, the board meetings are, which happen every few months, are also rotating between branches. So a great way to see all of the different branches that you might not get a chance to visit every day. So that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. Do we have any other updates specific to our San Jose Public Library Foundation Board? No? Okay, thank you, Don. Any questions or comments for for Commissioner Thorson or for Don? Seeing none. Cool. We'll move on to the next item, which is information and upcoming opportunities for commission participation. As a reminder, please take a look at our SJPL program calendar, which is at sjpl.org. But any info or upcoming opportunities for our commission to participate. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our next item, which is items for future commission meeting agendas. Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you for that again, sir. On the budget message that we talked about earlier, I would like to better understand and streamline how people can offer things for the collections in the library. It seems kind of difficult for folks to be able to do that. So I would like to see that happen. I would also, again, reiterate the need to talk about security in the branches. Issue came up yesterday at Bascom that kind of uncomfortable. And finally, I would like to know about the status of the MLK Friends and the bookstore that used to be at the MLK Library. Those would be my 3 questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Any other items for future consideration from the commission? And I believe, Jill, something to say on your end? Yes,
Well,
sorry.
I was going to ask for clarity on the first item about getting things into the library collection.
Yes, I've suggested items to go into the collection. And I know of other people that have done the same thing, and there's never a response. So people don't know if they're wasting their time or if their request was bad and denied, or what the procedure would be. That would be the first part for the regular customer at the library. Second part would be that sometime down in the future, I would like to see us going out to corporations and asking them to donate for our collections process beyond what's already being done. So that's what I would like to know.
Donating funds to the collection, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. The just to clarify the suggestion for purchase process, the policy has always been not to respond, or at least in the decade that I've been here, because there are so many, and that the patron is encouraged to check the library catalog, because to see if the item that they suggested was added. And so the reason I'm clarifying that is just to inquire, are you saying that those items were never added in the cases that you've mentioned?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, any other items for future commission meeting agendas? Seeing none. Oh, yes, Commissioner Jolly.
Actually, it's not an item. It's on the same discussion. And I just wonder to Commissioner Kelly's comment about not knowing if their request for new materials has been heard or anything. Would it be possible to at least get an auto-generated response of acknowledgement of the request? Not that there's any information provided to it, but just your request has been received. So at least there's some closure to the point of, did they even get it? And that's just a suggestion on my part. I have no idea if technology, if it's worth it or not, but kind of going to what Commissioner Kelly said, it just seems like one possible solution.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I'll look at the process. It's been a while since I personally made a suggestion, to see what kind of messaging the patron receives, but we can definitely look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Commissioner Jolly. Appreciate it.
All right, any other items, y'all, before we go on to our meeting schedule and agenda items? Okay, and before I say that, as a reminder for folks, you may have missed this in the chat. If you would like business cards, an application will be sent out. Please reach out to Cassie so she can get that going for you all, because we do need to put an application for that. All right, with that, just a reminder, and I'm going to get my teacher strategies here. Our next meeting, Wednesday, March 15th at 7 p.m. will not be online. I'm going to do it again. It will not be online. It's going to be in person at the MLK Library on the 3rd floor. I'm going to say it one more time. At the MLK Library on the 3rd floor at our next meeting on March 15th. Commissioner Thorson?
Sorry, I don't know if it's okay to ask a question at this point, but I was curious because it seemed like I was on the commission prior when we were meeting in person, and then I've been on when we've been meeting online, and it seems like we get much more public comment with the online meetings. And so I'm wondering if the in-person meetings will have an online option for people to call in to comment from the public.
Thanks, Commissioner Thorson. This is Anne Grabowski, Chief of Staff. We are going to attempt to host a hybrid meeting. The audio visual equipment poses a challenge, and continuity of that equipment throughout our facilities poses a challenge. And so I am concerned about the audio quality and ensuring that all guests and commissioners have a good experience. And so we're going to work through that. We make no promises about the ability to host a hybrid meeting, but that is something that we are going to attempt to do before the March meeting.
That's great. Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yeah, yeah, on that same topic. I was strolling through the reports that come through on our webmail, and I think it indicated where all of the meetings are going to be at places other than MLK. I'm not sure if that's what it was. It was kind of confusing when I started to read it. Is that the case?
Yeah, our past practice has been that we have alternated locations. 1 month we would be at MLK on the 3rd floor in the SJPL workspace. And then the alternating month we would be at a branch and then would return to MLK the month after. We do that so that the public in various parts of the city has access to the commission meetings. We also do that so that you all can be in our beautiful library buildings. And so Cassie is going, as we finalize that plan, Cassie will be sending out a comprehensive list of all of the locations and the dates and times, just so that everything is clear. Because we do recognize that it's a significant change for all of us after 3 years.
Yeah, I think it was published today. That's why I was questioning it. It was kind of confusing when I was reading it. So appreciate that update. I've already put in a request for the MLK meeting. I can't drive at night anymore. So that's going to be an issue for me.
Okay, we'll follow up with you separately. I was aware of the request and we'll follow up with you separately, especially if we're not able to successfully manage hybrid meetings at one or all meetings. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks. Again, reminder, next meeting, March 15th, 7 p.m. MLK. Excited to see everyone in person. And again, appreciate everyone for taking the time on this Wednesday to advocate for our libraries and learn together. With that being said, I want to adjourn our meeting at 8:19. Thanks.
Big round of applause for our substitute